Ahoy hoy gang, if this is your first time with us, welcome, and if you're joining us from our previous video, hey, we love to see it, and I hope you're doing well. Where I was so lukewarm, on the pool party episode, I gotta say, the second episode of the season really put my mind at ease. Obviously, we'll get into it, but yeah, no, I remember leaving the Flume Flume Room going, okay. This wasn't bad. All right, let's see where this goes. Yeah, Seinfeld. So, how good was the second episode of the season? Well, there's only one way to find out and 3 questions to be asked. What worked, what failed, what digital swimming will be curtailed? Do away with all that doom and gloom. It's time to review the Flume Flume Room. I will admit, when this episode started, I had already started considering putting it in the trash. I was like, okay, another episode where they're having marital problems because Stan is selfish and can't leave work. Wow. Compared to a pool party, this just feels dated and tired. And then I realized who the counselor was. That's Mary Steenburgen. That's Ted Danson's actual wife, and they have Dr. Ray and Dr. Lay together, and they are just absolutely jumping on each other, tearing into each other, and I love it. I love that we have these couples that come on the show. Last season, we had Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick. We've got Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen. That's great. That's delightful. That is so fun. And, you know, I guess I get it. I understand, Stan is selfish, and that is a character trait of his. I appreciate that it wasn't something new. And I do appreciate that Francine is into log flumes. I love that her hobby is log flumes, that she has another hobby that's water related, that is on brand for Francine to enjoy. A little bit of thrill, a little bit of excitement. That's what I want. That's what plants crave. And Stan agreeing to do it just to placate her, even acknowledging that it's just placating, I love it. That's on brand for both characters. Now, that being said, elephant in the room, addressed me. The Steve Wrong Address song is a bop that I was not expecting. It is an absolute treasure, and it sets off a B story that is fine. But I love it. Gonna write it down and tell him it's the wrong address. Loved it. Loved every bit of it. It was fantastic. I'm kind of disappointed that we haven't gotten like a proper Steve B story yet. But also, we're 2 episodes in. It's not gonna happen immediately. It's not gonna be, the next episode. Like last season, ton of Haley, and I think maybe only 2 or 3 Steve A stories. One of them being the oyster episode, which was, it was a lot. It was a lot, and I was not always a fan of it. And so, yeah, Roger goes on this quest to find out who this missing persona is, and just has absolutely no idea who it is, but he wants to get his lockbox. And I adore that. I like that Roger has so many personas, he doesn't know which one is the one he needs. And at this juncture, with both stories set up, I think if this were a Fox era episode, if this were within the first 9 seasons of the show, it would have been a very middling, whelming experience. It would not have worked as an episode. But when Stan betrays Francine's trust and decides to work on a mission while on the log flume, something happens. A key element happens. Francine leaves. She just goes away. And so, Stan has to go with Klaus down to the basement computer and goes to the Flume Flume Room, the little, Flume message forum. And he has to start breaking down all the acronyms and figuring out where his wife went. And I love that. And again, if this was just, oh, he goes to a popular water park and stops Francine from cheating on him with someone else by riding a flume together, credits roll, and then Roger finds his persona, I would have completely written this off. But instead, he finds footage of a man by the name of E. Carmack Dufresne's building the Roanoke log flume, the legendary log flume that no one had ever found before. This man that had created all these chemicals that had ruined the world wanted to create a ride to finally bring some joy to it. And it's that sort of dark undertone, that chilling element that TBS added into the formula. And I was like, why do I love this guy's voice so much? Why does it sound so familiar and hit with so much weight? That's because E. Carmack Dufresne is played by Chris Pine, who was also in Rabbit Ears as Alistair Kovacs. He's also been in, other episodes as well. But yeah, the second episode of the Fox era is a Twilight Zone episode. Stan thinks that Francine's cheating with a guy by the name of Lothario, played by Ben Giraud, and so he goes out to Roanoke, the legendary mystery log flume, to go and get his wife back. And Francine admits that she was just there to check on Lothario, make sure he was okay, but she also didn't know if she was gonna come home to him. She was tired of him being selfish and not appreciating everything that she did, of not taking her passions personally, of not understanding who his wife is. And I gotta admit, those quiet moments when they're on the Roanoke and it dips a little bit and they're having this honest heart-to-heart, it feels much more real than, Lois yelling at Peter or Marge shaking her head and grunting at Homer, because the reality of it is Stan does love her, but he is selfish. And you can really feel it in the performances. I mean, these guys have been doing this for 20 years at this point. They know how to bring these characters to life. And Wendy Shaw, man, she's not phoning it in. Like last episode, I didn't talk about it a lot, but she did do a fantastic job as Francine. You can feel the franticness in her voice, even if I wasn't a huge fan of the episode. No one phoned in their performances at all. And here, Seth MacFarlane has so much extra emotion to Stan that you would not get from early American Dad. They trust the returning audience. They know that you can handle something a little bit deeper. And if you're just a new fan on Fox, you're probably going into this episode going, what is this? Where did this come from? American Dad's the show with the alien. But it's so much more than that. And as they go on the log flume, you really start to see it as the flames rise up and the animatronics are sawed in half for visceral effect. It's gorgeous. And then we find out that Roger's persona is an old, songwriter who wrote the song for Roanoke, and that was what was in the lockbox, and that's all fine. Like, I know I'm brushing past it, but it's a way better Roger B story for a Twilight Zone episode than Roger is a baby. Like, if they had this B story attached to Rabbit Ears, a 10 out of 10 episode would have become a 1,000,000 out of 10 episode. Like having him write the Nighthawk's Hideaway theme song, that would have been great. The Roanoke theme song is, it's funny. It did get a couple chuckles out of me, but the episode as a whole isn't that comedic intentionally. It really does feel like a fever dream. Like the more you watch it, the more you go, wow, they're back. They're so back. Now, I don't know if this episode was in pre-production before the cancellation, but this feels like TBS era writing. This feels like, wow, okay, we're still cooking here. We still have that golden potential. And I keep coming back. I've watched this episode 4 times. I have watched this episode 4 times. I don't do that often, especially with an episode that just came out. But it kept pulling me back. And I kept drawing parallels to, like, The Future is Borax. And I'm like, it's there. They're trying to bond. Stan is taking an active interest in Francine's interest. Of course, Francine's into Flumes. That makes too much sense for her as a character. This feels so human, so down to earth, and yet so surreal. And of course, you know, they're falling through the sky. This is a flume designed to kill. And they manage to make it through, get to the end, and they see the old Carmack Dufresne. And it works. Now, I will say it's a little bit more lighthearted than, say, Rabbit Ears. It's more comedic than, say, Gold Top Nuts. But it shines. This was the episode that gave me hope in the Neo Fox era. This was the episode that made me know it was gonna be okay. Now, if every other episode after this completely, you know, ruins what American Dad was, well, egg on my face. But this was a genuinely special episode, and I'm glad the show wasn't canceled so that we got an episode like it. And it shows the potential is still there. Chris Pine, anytime he does voice acting is phenomenal. And I really love that they gave him freedom in this episode to just be weird. And you could tell, again, everybody's having fun with it. This is not a job role for anyone on the show. And I love that. Even just, again, D. Bradley Baker as Klaus this episode. He's still got that Florida Klaus in him. I was so afraid we weren't going to get Klaus's Boys Klaus, that we weren't going to get I-4 Klaus. But he's breaking down acronyms. He is the perfect, you know, cricket on Stan's shoulder for this adventure. And I appreciate that. I also don't think Ray died this episode. Usually Dr. Ray dies, but no, he was, I think he was still there, which is crazy to me. But no, it is an absolutely fantastic episode. The Flume Flume Room is a jingle accompanied 10 out of 10. I know, they just had to get that momentum, and then boom, grocery store bank quality right there, folks. And there we have it. That was my review of the Flume Flume Room. Anything you think I was right on? Wrong on? What were your favorite parts of the episode? Least favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked what you saw, consider liking, subscribing, and telling your friends we're out here. Not gonna sing all of them anymore. I don't know where that one even came from, but hey, yeah. I really liked the Flume Flume Room. Between a really solid B story of Roger not knowing what his persona was and an A story that was gripping, dark, emotional, effective, it worked. It sang. We're, 20 plus seasons in and it's still working. It's still finding new ways to tell old stories. It never tried to establish something new, and I appreciate that. I appreciate Francine having new hobbies, having that new fascination with, most things water related. And it just, I don't know, it is an episode that has hooked into my brain and I can't stop thinking about it. And that's when you know you have something really special. If it ingrains yourself in your core, you got something magical. Anyway, that's going to do it for us here at the Lecture Hall. And if you want to support the channel, consider joining our membership or Patreon programs today. $2 a month gets you your name on this fancy list of champions. Yeah. Had to do it. I have to sing for our supporters. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I know it's been a long time without content, and I know you're like, 2 episodes, oh no, he's not coming. He's going to be even longer between releases now. I'm not. I've been working on these for a minute. As you can probably tell, these episode reviews are improvised, so there's no script attached to them. I'm just sort of freeballing it here. But I did want to take a second to genuinely thank all of you for watching this channel. It means a ton. As you can probably tell from my voice, I'm getting over sickness. Hopefully things are getting back to normal. I am, again, working on other reviews. This is not the only stuff you're going to get from me, but I figured putting out these American Dad reviews was a way to stay relevant while we're working on the bigger projects out there. So be on the lookout for more stuff. We are not slowing down yet. Again, all of your wonderful comments, I try to respond to as many as I can. They warm my heart. They keep me going in those dark times, and I hope that I can do even just 5% of the same to you. thank you, thank you, thank you for giving this channel a chance. Remember, no matter how dark it is out there, no matter how hard it is, stay strong, keep fighting that good fight. Even if you just got out of bed today, know that I'm proud of you and I believe in you. Things will get better. A rising tide lifts all ships, and I can feel one hell of a wave a-coming. Goodbye, everybody, and I'll see you all next time.